My wife said no at our wedding. I don't even know where to begin, because when people ask me how my wedding went, I still can't answer without either laughing bitterly or breaking down in tears. It's been over a year now, and I still wake up some nights replaying it all in my head. Like a bad movie I can't turn off. I thought I had the love story people dream about. Emily and I met in college. She was a quiet one in the back of the lecture hall. The girl who doodled in her notebook when the professor got boring. I was the loud one in the front row, always raising my hand. We were opposites in every possible way. But somehow that pulled us together. We started dating our junior year. At first, it was the usual late-night walks across campus, cramming for finals together, long talks about the future. But the thing about Emily was that she always made me feel grounded. I'm impulsive, fiery, easily excitable. She was calm, steady like an anchor. I fell in love with the way she could smile at me and instantly shut out every storm in my head. After graduation, we moved in together. Our families adored us. Her mom once told me she thought I was the best thing that ever happened to Emily. My parents welcomed her like a daughter. For 5 years, we built a life together. A dog, a tiny apartment, weekend trips, Christmases where we talk about how someday we'd host everyone at our own house. When I proposed, it felt like the natural next step. We were standing by the lake near her parents' cabin, the same place where we'd spent countless summers. I had a speech planned, but when I dropped to one knee, I completely blanked. I just blurted, "I can't imagine my life without you. Will you marry me?" She cried, nodded, and whispered yes. It was messy and imperfect and completely us. The months leading up to the wedding were the usual chaos. Arguments about seating charts, stress about the budget. But through it all, I kept telling myself, it'll be worth it when I see her walking down the aisle. The day finally came. It was a crisp autumn afternoon, with leaves just starting to turn gold. Our venue was this rustic barn with fairy lights strung across the beams. I remember standing at the altar, heart pounding, hands sweating, trying to steady my breathing. My best man whispered, "Dude, relax. She's coming." And then she did. Emily, in a simple white dress that made her look like something out of a dream. For a moment, everything was perfect. Our friends and family stood, smiling, snapping photos, tearing up. I felt like the luckiest man alive. The ceremony started. Vows were read. We laughed nervously when the officiant fumbled a line. And then came the moment, the question, "Emily, do you take Daniel to be your lawfully wedded husband?" Silence. At first, I thought she was just emotional, maybe overwhelmed. She looked at me, then at the crowd, then back at me. Her lips parted, and instead of the word I'd been waiting for, she whispered. No, it wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. Just a soft, trembling word that somehow echoed louder than anything I've ever heard. Gasps rippled through the guests. My heart stopped. I thought I misheard. "What?" I croaked, my voice cracking. She shook her head. Tears streamed down her face. "I can't. I'm sorry." And then she dropped the bouquet, lifted her dress, and walked. No, ran down the aisle. I stood frozen, humiliated, as whispers filled the barn. My mother covered her mouth. Her father looked like someone had shot him. The officiant stammered, unsure what to do. My best man put a hand on my shoulder, but I shrugged it off, numb. I don't remember much after that. Just flashes. My aunt hugging me, saying, "It's going to be okay." Her bridesmaids chasing after her. Guests filing out awkwardly, avoiding eye contact. The cake sitting untouched. The DJ quietly packing up his equipment. Later that night, I got the full story. Emily hadn't just said no. She had left the venue with someone else. His name was Mark, one of her co-workers. I'd met him once at a holiday party. Tall, charming, with the kind of confidence that fills a room. At the time, I didn't think much of it. He was just the funny guy from her office. Turns out, he was much more than that. They'd been having an affair for months. Late nights at work that weren't really work. Girls' trips that were actually weekends away with him. And I had been blind to all of it. Everyone else, her friends, even some of mine, had suspicions. But not me. I was too busy planning a future with her to see she'd already planned one without me. She confessed later in an email. She said she didn't plan to humiliate me, that she thought she could go through with it. But when she stood there, she realized marrying me would be living a lie. She wrote, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you. I had to choose myself." But it wasn't choosing herself. It was choosing him. For weeks, I couldn't leave my apartment. I ignored calls, skipped work, drank myself to sleep. Everywhere I went, I imagined people whispering about me. "That's the guy whose bride left him at the altar." The shame was suffocating. Friends tried to cheer me up. They said, "Better now than after you were married." My mom told me it was a blessing in disguise. But none of it helped. The image of her running away haunted me. The worst part? Seeing photos of them pop up online just weeks later. Emily and Mark, smiling at some rooftop bar, holding hands on a beach. She looked happy, happier than she'd ever looked with me. It felt like my entire life had been a rehearsal for someone else's show. I wish I could say I moved on quickly. I didn't. I spiraled. I lashed out at friends. I ghosted people who cared. I couldn't stand to see couples in love. Every time I heard wedding bells from a church nearby, I felt physically ill. It took me almost a year to even start functioning again. Therapy helped. My family support helped. But there's a scar that won't fade. The tragic ending? Emily and Mark are still together. Last I heard, they're engaged. Engaged to the same man she left me for. The man who sat in the crowd at my wedding pretending to be just a guest. Sometimes I wonder if she'll say no to him, too. If history will repeat itself. But then I stop myself because, honestly, I don't care anymore. I didn't get the happy ending. I got the tragedy. And maybe that's my story. Not every wedding ends with a kiss. Some end with a single word that shatters everything. No,